that they have provided to anyone interested in the property and have asked that proposals be submitted using that form. Under our provisions under state law, we have to first submit that as an option to purchase, not as a formal contract, and then it is subject to us advertising a public hearing, and after 30 days notice, coming back and you conducting a public hearing, and if you vote to accept it, then it converts the option agreement into a formal contract to purchase. So the only adjustment I would ask as you consider this item tonight, if you make a motion on the agenda, we've got that we would authorize submittal of a proposal to purchase through a real estate purchase and sale agreement, and I would say as an option contract. That's what would need to be added to the motion, and authorize the chairman to sign that once the superintendent has completed those details and has determined a fair and reasonable amount to offer under that proposal.
Okay, so we need to entertain a motion adding the option in there.
Right.
As well as
Real
by
estate
the
purchase and sale agreement
superintendent.
as an option contract subject to public hearing.
Gotcha. All right. Do I hear such a motion?
I'll make the motion with the option. I can't read my writing now. The contract and everything you said.
Yes, ma'am. It's to use their form, but it will be an option contract subject to public hearing
Hearing.
after notice.
Right.
Second.
So, moved by Mrs. Gardner and seconded by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. Thank you. That brings us down to section 10, and notably, Mr. Bryant isn't here this evening, but we appreciate him representing us on the Florida School Boards Association. We know that he's doing good work for us there, and I'm sure he will have a grand report for us when he returns on the construction program. 10.2, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 40, Pre-GMP for roof replacement projects at Meigs Middle School and at Pryor Middle School, presented by Dr. Smith.
Move it.
Moved by Dr.
I'll
White
second it.
and seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 10.3, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 2, Scope Modification Number 7, School Security and Fencing, presented by Dr. Smith.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 10.4, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 12, Scope Modification Number 1, Sales Tax COP Projects, presented by Dr. Smith.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik,
Second.
seconded by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that carries unanimously. 10.5, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 16, Scope Modification Number 1 of Phase 2, Front Entry Canopy Projects, presented by Dr. Smith.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 10.6, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 19, Scope Modification Number 1, Canopy Replacement, Storm Damage, presented by Dr. Smith.
Move it.
Moved by Dr. White,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. Thank you. That moves us to section 11, Attorney's Business.
No report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. 12, Superintendent's Business.
Thank you, Madam Chair and School Board. As you know, this morning at the board workshop, presented information on several items, as well as having Mr. Horton coming up and give an update on student enrollment and FTE, so nothing further this evening.
Thank you. Dr. White.
All right, thank you for board members' business.
That's
And
right.
I just had a couple of things. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending a open house at Pryor Middle School with Ms. Vanchak and Mr. Horton, where at that event, Subaru Corporation awarded $10,000 to Pryor teachers. And I'd just like to say that Principal Lord did a marvelous job, Mr. Superintendent, in leading that event in the Pryor gym, where both you and I have spent some time before. And then lastly, the Choctawhatchee homecoming game will be Friday, October the 6th, against South Walton High School. And that's all I have.
Thank you for leading us off on the board members' announcements. Ms. Gardner.
Yes, I would just like to recognize that we lost a wonderful person, Mr. Ernest Hepson. He was the founding band director at Fort Walton Beach High School. Mr. Hepson and his wife Ann, she was a fifth grade teacher at Elliott Point. They spent 50 plus years in working and creating just a program of excellence. And I have a page full of notes right here that I really could have had 3 or 4 pages of different accolades that people have said about Mr. Hepson. Again, I said it's over 50 years working with the Viking Band, the Pride of the Miracle Strip. And one thing I remember with Mr. Hepson, I was a student during the time when he was there, he had a motto, and it was excellence without exceptions. And whether you were in the band, any extracurricular activity, cheerleading, no matter what it was, that motto rippled throughout our school. And I think even with uniforms, whether it was the majorettes or the cheerleaders, whatever, I think Mr. Hepson had a say-so in everything back in those days. He truly had excellence was the motto right there. And I don't think there's another high school in anywhere around that can say that they received 54 years of straight superior ratings, and that is going to be continuing. He not only did he work with the students at Fort Walton Beach High School, but he was very recognized and respected with other band programs and band directors, not just only in our area, but throughout the state and other states. He, I know in 2004, he was inducted into the Florida Bandmaster Association Hall of Fame. He never liked to be recognized, but that was just one of many, many honors that he received throughout the years. He truly is, has left a big footprint at Fort Walton Beach High School. And we've talked about others that you mentioned. We've lost several good ones in the last few months. We have, and the legacy that he leaves behind, and we know that that is going to continue. So we send our thoughts and our prayers to his wife Ann and the 2 boys and his family. And he's not here with us right now, but he will never ever be forgotten. And the Viking Band, the pride of the Viking Band, it will continue to be a program of excellence. Moving on, and to congratulate 2 more individuals that have made a huge difference, not only at Fort Walton Beach High School, but also within our community. Dr. Alexis Tibbetts, and remember Dr. Tibbetts, and Mr. Steve Riggs. And Mr. Riggs, Steve was in the class of 1972, the first graduating class, and they're going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame during our homecoming, October the 13th. So come out and join that, and these 2 individuals are have not, like I said, not only have they contributed a huge part into Fort Walton Beach High School, but within our community, and they still continue to give back to our community. And one last thing is coming up on September 30th, which is this coming Saturday, the Okaloosa County School District is partnering with WSRE for a program called Amazing Kids Day. And it's a free event for children and their families of children with autism. It will provide fun activities designed for the children, and also activities, educational resources for their families. And again, this is going to take place this coming Saturday, the 30th, at Fort Walton Beach Public Library from 9 till 12. They do ask that you register. And if you go to the school district website, there is a nice display advertising this, and if you select it, you can see where you go on and register. And I'm sure that's to make sure that there's enough supplies and materials. But it sounds like an excellent, fun, educational day, and I appreciate the school district and partnering with the WSRE to provide this event. So I think that's it. I've scribbled all over my pages. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner. Mr. Vanchuk.
No, I have no additional statements tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And I made most of my comments this morning too, but just a reminder that we are now under 10 days till the end of the first grading period, so we'll take that into account. And I'll move us back up to 13.1. I
May I
believe
add,
we
I'm sorry, one more
resolved-
thing, now that
Yeah.
you've said that.
Okay.
I think the next time we meet, is that not going to be October the 9th? Is that the end of the first 9
Yes,
weeks?
Yes, it is.
That's hard to believe will already be.
Already
First
there.
9 weeks, student holiday, teacher workday.
That's why I
So,
keep saying it. It's
October the
right
9th.
here on us, and
It's
it
hard to
just
believe
kinda
it's the end of
crept up,
September,
didn't it?
and the next time we meet will be the end of the first 9 weeks.
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt, but
That's okay.
that was part of my scribble here.
I understand that and relate. 13.1, I believe we came to consensus on this morning at our workshop, but I wanted to formally bring that back up and make sure that Ms. Gardner, did you agree that you wanted to continue to be the board member to serve on
I
the-
will be happy to do it. I enjoy it, but again, if somebody else wants to do it, we can arm wrestle and go, but I'm more than happy to do it.
Okay.
I think the agenda requires a motion.
That's
so,
right.
In the event Ms. Gardner's willing to serve again,
She
I'll make
is.
that motion.
Thank you, Dr. White. Have a motion?
And I will second it.
And seconded by Ms. Evancheck. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Ms. Gardner. You are it
Thank you for
unanimously.
serving in that.
I
Yes.
enjoy it.
It is a great group to work with.
Absolutely. And some wonderful individuals where we get to read their what they
Great
submit,
nominees.
and our ed support are just amazing,
Exactly.
amazing individuals.
Thank you. Thank you for serving. That brings us to section 14, public comment, the yellow card version. These are items that do not have to relate to an agenda item. Thank you. I see we have several here. So the first one is Mark Cato.
Madam Chair, I would just remind the speakers in this category, you'll have 2 minutes to make your comments.
Okay, good evening.
Thank you.
My concern is about the apps to buy a ticket to get into these games or functions at the schools. And I know I'm not the only one that has difficulties with these things. And it of course, it backs the lines up, and it's pretty embarrassing, in a way, But I can read you, if y'all would like for me to read you the Federal Reserve, the governors of the Federal Reserve System on the law about currency. And you have to, Section 31 USC 5103 entitled Legal Tender, states United States coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes from Federal Reserve banks and national banks, are legal tender for all debts, public charges, taxes, and dues. The statute means that all U.S. money, as identified above, is valid and legal offer of payment for debts when tendered to a creditor. And I was just wondering if we could do something like an option to go pay by apps or cash when you go to these functions. Because I know cash is, to me, a lot faster than trying to figure out how to get one of these apps done. So, thought they might do something the last year. I talked to county commissioner the other day, and he said he's had several complaints. So maybe we can get some kind of modification done to this before we go total cashless and go direct currency.
Thank you, Mr. Cato.
Well, can I ask a quick question? Is the problem, because I honestly, it happened to me, I went up to go with my phone, my ticket, and I couldn't bring it up, so I know what you mean about being embarrassing, standing there and
Right.
trying to.
15 minutes later, and your line's
and
getting further
you
and
start
further.
panicking, and then I couldn't tell even what my name was at that point.
Right.
But is it the difficulty in purchasing online, or is it the difficulty when you get up there and trying to pull it up, or or is it both? Or
I'm considered a caveman. Yes, I am. My wife can do it. I can't, but she has difficulties. But really and truly, yes, I'm an old timer, and I don't want change. Because to me, cash is cash. I mean, it's so simple. I go up there and give you $5. There ain't no faster way. Go into McDonald's, they want you to. It's no faster.
the airport everywhere
Yeah,
is
right.
by, yes.
So I don't see how it's saving anything, you know. Guys up there still having to look at your phone or help you find it or this or that. And some of them have been really nice to me. I really appreciate them helping me. I've given them the cash and they bought the ticket for me. But I mean, you shouldn't have to do that, you know? So, but I appreciate if y'all might can discuss this. I heard it was all over the county. Baker don't do it. The rest of them do. So, and I know Santa Rosa does and everything else. Baker doesn't do it.
The reason is oftentimes the connectivity in Baker area is too challenging
Well,
to.
yeah, you don't get a signal very
Get the
good.
signal, yeah.
But, you know, I appreciate it if y'all would
Thank you.
do that for me.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the next one is Brittany Mathis. Is this Brittany here?
Yeah.
Where's she coming? Good evening.
So I'd like to start off with, first off, my name is Brittany Mathis. I have children at Davison Middle as well as Bob Sykes. I'd like to address a concern with how the school administration is not following school board policies at Davison Middle. I'd also like to know why the nurses do not have to send home any medical note, report, anything like that, saying that there was an emergency that happened at Davison Middle. And then I would also like to address, why do administrators not have to send home a redacted incident report when a child is assaulted at Bob Sykes? So those are my questions. I was told not to address as far as who I spoke with at each school, so I really can't go into detail about what issues happened, but I feel very strongly about them. One of my children, the two of my children are my stepchildren, but they're not stepchildren. I do not step on my children. They're my bonus parents, my bonus children. So to be denied a medical report after I've been told that my child passed out on the football field at Davison because I am a step parent, I could have melted in the floor. And at 2023, there's an issue with that. The other issues I have ties into security, as in Bob Sykes not checking IDs for the daycare for children to be checked out. They said that they have a 4-digit number, but when the administrators don't check the children in, the number doesn't check the children out. So that's kind of my concern. And I could have many more on the security issues if somebody would reach out to me.
Thank you.
Yes,
No,
sir.
and I appreciate you being here tonight, and we'll have a member of our staff, not tomorrow, but tonight, who will speak with you, and we'll get those particulars, and we'll get you answers to those questions.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amanda Gregory.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Amanda Gregory, and I have several children. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't like public speaking.
It's all right.
I have several
nervous.
children in the school system, and I want to know what is classified as an emergency situation and at what point do the parents get notified. My daughter was climbing on a rock wall and slipped off and fell, and it was like a 5'5" drop. It's as tall as me. And she was told to shake it off and walk halfway down the school to the nurse. The first document that I received said that she fell, and then I got another note the next day that said that she fell and was sent to the nurse. I tried contacting the school for 4 days in a row. At one point, we had to literally go to the school and tell them that we were not leaving until someone told us what happened. And what we could possibly do about it, like maybe better training for the teachers. Should there be a better ratio for the students to teachers, or what could we actually do about it?
So I'd
Because
say,
when she fell, she cracked a rib, and there were imprints of the rock wall on her. It was a pretty serious fall.
This rock wall's at the school?
Yes, yes, it was
There.
on the playground at the school. She was not medically assessed until she walked to the nurse, which it was a pretty good distance. And she did end up injuring herself, and nobody assessed her to make sure there was no head injury, nothing. She was just told to shake it off and go to the nurse. And then the nurse called me to tell me that she fell. They couldn't tell me how she fell, couldn't tell me any bit of information, so I had to spend 3 to 4 days prying the teachers, asking for video surveillance, which I was denied, even though I told them that they could redact the children and still let me see exactly what happened. She said nobody pushed her, she just slipped. But the lack of want to make sure that she wasn't seriously injured bothers me, because she could have hit her head very hard.
I'm sure that you'll be able to share with staff, the school, and the particulars of the situation.
Okay.
definitely, and definitely hope your daughter is okay. And,
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
she's
again-
better now. It's been about 3 weeks. She's better, but she's still a little sore.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And again, we'll have a member of our staff get with you tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Gregory. And the last yellow card I have is for Matthew Hicks.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Hi.
Good, how are you?
All right, so I'm Matthew. Amanda's my fiance. To follow up on what she was talking about, we get phone calls from the school when our kids have tummy aches, but we don't get phone calls when they fall off and leave a horseshoe imprint on their sides. Or when my daughter, I hate to say this, but she brought a multi-tool to school and it was a pocket knife, and the school took her into a room and for an hour interrogated her in the 5th grade. And I didn't know about it until I went to go pick her up from the school and was told about it then. I feel like if she has rights as a human and an American in this country, that stands at any point. She shouldn't be drugged into a room by herself by another adult without me at least being phone called to say, hey, this is a situation we got to deal with, and we're going to talk to your daughter about what happened. I didn't even get that kind of a courtesy, but I can get a phone call when her tummy hurts. So I think that needs to be tightened up. Another thing I want to address is I don't understand. It's my first meeting. The slander. If it's a fact, if I bring up something about a person and it is a fact, then under the statute of the United States Federal Code, that is not slander at all. So I just, if I've got a grievance against a certain person, I feel like I should at least bring that to y'all. Do I write that to y'all? How do I bring that about a specific grievance to a specific person? No, that's pretty much my question.
So I would say on the front end, you always have the ability to reach out to me, and we have the ability, of course, you always have the right to come here, but you also have the ability to reach out to me, talk specifically with me about any employee in this school district, specifically what happened, and I'm the one who is responsible for carrying out those conversations, whether it be giving you information or taking other forms of action. So again, so you definitely have the ability to speak with me, but again, you always have the right to come before us tonight.
Okay. And then I know y'all can't address the other concerns right now. It's something y'all would have to discuss amongst yourselves. But just know that the parents are talking amongst ourselves. We also have people on Facebook blocking our abilities to mention y'all's meetings. Brian Frost being the main one. I don't know, he's related to the school in some aspect, but not y'all's board. But we're trying to get people here so we can get things fixed the way we think they should be. And we appreciate y'all's time.
And
We
Mr. Chambers,
appreciate
you'll
it.
have someone tomorrow maybe reach out to Mr. Hicks and
Tonight.
tonight. Perfect.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing voices. I got
We're gonna talk
tinnitus.
with
I'm
you
a
about
veteran.
the-
So.
We
We're
were
gonna
just
talk with
saying
you.
that a member of the staff tonight will speak with you and help you get things resolved.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
coming.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And those were all the cards that I received this evening. So that brings us down to section 16. Unless there's anything else, executive staff, anybody have a comment, anything to share? Anybody from the union? Superintendent? Mr. Horton does, okay.
Just very briefly, I was notified by Mr. Mitchell during the meeting that there was an issue with the live stream computer. The meeting itself has been recorded in its full, and it's going to be posted on the normal spot tomorrow, but we put a notice up that there's a technical problem.
Thank you so
Tomorrow.
much. Anything from the union? No. Mr. Superintendent, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then for the good of the order, we are adjourned.